and welcome back to redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey, and in today's tutorial we're going to make a diaper cover. This is a ruffled diaper cover. Now if you do not like the ruffles, you don't have to add this to your project, but this will still end up being a diaper cover. So here's the very front of it. I used James C. Brett Chunky Marble for this. It doesn't call for that yarn, but that's what I've used if you like the color transitions. And then on the back of it we're going to use Red Heart Batik Sashay in order to make this ruffle, and it almost looks like a tutu idea. In today's tutorial I'm going to go through the basics on how to get this particular shape. We're going to go through step by step, and then I'm going to take you through some tips of the ruffling on how to avoid any edges. So for example, all of the ruffles here are one line going across and then we cut it and come back. I'm going to show you tips on how to prevent it from appearing to be unraveling on the ends where you have loose ends hanging out, and that's a great tip. You also might want to change the way that the band is. So just because the instructions say it doesn't mean you have to do it. You can change it in other ways. So the band has two strings and they're tied together on the sides, but you can change that if you wish, if you have the skills to do that. So very versatile pattern today. In today's pattern I will be using Red Heart Super Saver. It does call for Red Heart with Love, and either one is a great choice. The With Love is a much softer yarn if you want to apply it to your baby skin, and you will be needing the Red Heart Sashay. Also you're going to be needing a tape measure throughout today's tutorial to take measurements as you're going along. This pattern is available from 3 months to 6 months and 12 months. So let's begin right now. Okay, just off camera I have the pattern ready to go, and it's called the Country Baby Diaper Cover and Hat, and this is the free pattern available on redheart.com. That will be available in a link in the more information of this video. So it says with the larger hook, and if you look at the pattern there's two sizes of hooks being used, and in the larger one it's a 6mm or size J crochet hook, and we are going to be using the Red Heart. So what I want to do is I want to leave an extra long tail right here, so I'm going to use that to be able to secure it in. You never want loose ends hanging out of your projects when it comes to baby. So let's begin. We're going to have a slip knot, and you'll notice that there's three instructions that says chain 21, chain 23, or chain 25. Those are the parentheses of different sizes. So 21 means it's a 3-month, 23 is the 6, and then 25 is the 12 months. So within this tutorial I'm going to be working on the first one of all of the dimensions, so chain 21 for the infant size, the 3-month. So let's begin. We're going to chain 21. So this never counts as 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and go all the way to 21, or to the other two dimensions if you wish a larger size. Okay, let's begin row number 1, and it says to single crochet starting in the second chain from the hook and in each chain across. Now normally what we would do is we just go into the chain just like this. What I want you to do, and it doesn't say to do this because this is more my own styling, is that I want you to turn this chain over so that you see a back loop popping out of the back. And what this will do is that you see 1, 2, turn it over and get that back loop and single crochet. And once you do the first one, the whole chain will turn upside down. The reason for it is that you'll have a much nicer finish on the top of the cover, which is visible to anybody that is looking at your child. So just do that and then single crochet yourselves all the way across the top of this line. Once you're in the end of the row, just simply turn your work and let's begin row number 2. So row number 2 is very easy. We're just going to chain 1 first, and then we're going to single crochet into the same one that we just came out of in the bottom there, and we want to do all the way across. So this whole instruction that you see here, it says you're going to do this row back and forth until the height matches a certain height. So in my size that I'm working on, it's got to match 3.5 inches. The next size is 4.5, and then the next size after that is 5.5. So what I want you to do is continue to go back and forth, grab your tape measure just like so, and so I want to get to 3.5. So I got a little bit of ways to go before I get there, and when I come back I'll have 3.5 inches done from the bottom. So it's going to be from the very bottom to 3.5 to the next part of this tutorial. So continue to do that. You will find this goes extremely quickly. So let's come right back with that done. So just a few moments ago I left you, and it was gonna be that I had to do it. So I have 3.5 inches now ready to go. And if you're really thinking about the perspective of this particular baby diaper, the way that you look at it is that this where we started is actually the very top of the front of the child. And now what we're going to do is that we're going to start bringing it in to create the narrowing of the legs. So let's begin to do that step right now. To begin row number 1 of the regular size, this is the infant size, the smallest size, we are just going to slip stitch 3 stitches over, and what we want to do is that we're going to do that for all of the particular sizes. So it doesn't matter what size you're working on. We just simply come into the same stitch. So we did not chain 1, but we just come into the same stitch and just grab it and just go like that. Okay, so we do that for 3 times. So in the next part of this instruction, it says to single crochet, then starting and then going all the way and counting your stitches over. Can I give you a secret? You just slip stitched 3, therefore what you're going to do is leave 3 unworked stitches at the end. So you can either count it out, or you can just go and like crochet along and just don't worry about counting and just leave 3 stitches empty at the end. That is a really quick way in order to do it. So I could have counted over, or I can see that there is 1, 2, and 3. This is my last one. So I want to make sure that I leave 3 stitches empty so that it will equal the other side. So I have 3 empty this side, 3 empty this side, and it doesn't even matter what side I'm working on. I just want to do the same. So let's turn and go into row number 2, and it says to single crochet 2 together and then single crochet in each until the last 2 where we're gonna do the together again. So let's begin to do that first, and what we're going to just do is then we're just gonna immediately come into the very first one. So I didn't chain, I just come into the first one, pull through the yarn and hold it onto my hook, go into the next one, pull through the yarn, and then now you have 3 loops on the hook, pull them all through the 3, and now that just made these 2 stitches into 1 stitch, and now you're just going to single crochet yourself across. So in the next part of this tutorial, I'm going to be giving you tips on how to speed through the remainder of this process. We're going to come to a really narrow part in the middle, and that's right at the between the child's legs, where it's the most narrowest part, and we're going to continue to work that. So you can clearly see that this stitch is higher than this stitch, so you can clearly see that you have 3 stitches here. So you can really obviously tell which stitches that you need to work on. So you can still see 2 are elevated, these 3 are in, therefore these are the 2 that belong together. So we're gonna come through, hold it onto your hook, go into the next one, pull through, hold on your hook, grab the yarn and pull through all 3, and then that completes off round number 2. So to begin row number 3, let's just simply turn the work, and this row is very simple. We're just going to chain 1 and then single crochet into each one going across. So it's gonna ask you in the next part of this instructions to repeat 2 and 3 all over again. So what's gonna happen is that every other row we're going to get more narrow, and then every other row beyond that is, for example, this right now, where we're just slowly coming in. We're not just jetting into a V shape, we're slowly making our way there. So what I want you to do, and I'm gonna show you in just a moment, I want you to write something on a piece of paper, because this will speed you through if you think of it the way that I'm about to show you. So rows number 4 to 9 or 4 to 11 or 4 to 13 are the same kind of stitches, and we're repeating rows number 2 and 3. Now 2 was doing it together, 3 is a single crochet. So every other line, as I said, is going to be coming together, and every other line in between is just single crochet. So what I want you to do on a piece of paper, do together 4, a single crochet for 5, so just go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or to the other sizes that you want to, and right above it together single crochet, together single crochet, together single. I can guarantee you if you do that, it's going to speed you up, because you're not going to start second guessing where you are when you're just checking off your numbers. So in rows number 4, it says to repeat row number 2, so I'll just show you that one more time, is that we don't chain up 1, we immediately come into the first one, pull the yarn, come into the second one, pull the yarn, we're doing 2 together, put it together, and then single crochet all the way across until you leave the last 2 empty, and the last 2 will be 2 together once again. So you're going to repeat that, and then in the next row we're just gonna single crochet along the top of the line as normal, and then carry on. So if you can remember to do that, just write it down the way I said it. You can speed your way through. So you have 2 stitches left, put them together for this particular row, and that'll complete off row number 4. So carry on for the remainder of these instructions as you go from either row number 4 to 9, 4 to 11, or 4 to 13, depending on your size. And when we come back, we're going to be at a much narrower spot, and you're going to find this is going to go really quickly. So I've now completed this whole section of coming in between the legs, and now we're going to work. So basically this is what it will look like at this point. Okay, so if you're looking at the front of a child, and so basically we want to begin at row number 10, and row number 10 is very easy. Now if you're doing the bigger sizes, this will be row number 12 or 14 if you're looking at the instructions. So if that doesn't make any sense to you, hopefully that will. So chain 1, and it says to 2 single crochets into the first stitch, single crochet all the way, and then 2 single crochets in the last. So essentially what we're going to do now, this is the most narrowest part of the baby between the legs, and now we're gonna start growing it out just like you see here, but on the other side. So the first stitch is going to be 1 and 2, just like that, and then single the remainder all the way across, except for the very last stitch we're going to put in 2 single crochets. Now just like what we did on this one here, is that we did one line where 2 are together and then the next line is a straight single crochet. This also is going to grow out uniformly just like this. So row number 11, when we go to turn it, is that we're going to chain up. So this will either be row number 11 for this size, or it could be 13 or 15 depending on what you're looking at, and you're gonna make sure that you single crochet into each stitch going all the way across. So I have another tip for you, because I'm full of tips. So you're gonna start seeing it's already starting to grow in the outward direction, and it's doing it on a nice even pace, and it's gonna be very easy for you. So you can see here, this is what's happening. So for my instructions that I had that you saw already, is that what I want to do is that I just finished off row number 11. I'm gonna write down number 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, and you'll have more if you're doing the other sizes. And what I put in here is 2, meaning 2 in the first and last stitch. The next one is single crochet, 2 in the first and last stitch, single crochet, and what I'm just going to do is I'm going to check it off as I go, and this is an easier way to make sure that you're not losing your way when you're writing it. And I write this stuff on the pattern. I just put it on the sticky pad here just for your benefit today. So let's begin. We're going to do up row number 12 all the way to 17, or you could be doing 14 to 21 or 16 to 25 depending on your size, and basically you just have to turn your work and start building up gradually just like I showed you. So this one is row number 12, so we're going to chain 1 first and then single crochet twice and then single crochet all the way across. It gets really complicated when I work on patterns that allow you multiple sizes. I'm trying not to confuse you in any way, but I'm trying to be helpful to everybody, and especially if this is not the size you're working on. So the last row will have 2 in the same, and then that'll keep building it out. So continue in that same fashion, going back and forth. So 2 in the first and last, every other row, and then every other row is just straight single crochet, which I'm about to start now. So continue along, and when we get that done, we'll meet back up and then we'll do the other side of the top of the diaper. So now I have this done, and you should be able to fold this in half and it should equal. So what is the problem here when it comes to crochet is that we have to, if you're looking at it from this, now this is the front and now this is the back. So what we have to do is, see how we jumped over these many stitches? We have to create that now on both sides, but you can only do one at a time. So for example, here we are going to start row number 18, and this may be a different row depending on what size you're working on. Could be either rows number 22 or 26. So to begin this row we need to chain 4 first. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this will make sense in just a moment, so just bear with me. It says single crochet second chain from the hook, so you're going to go 1 and 2. Again, do that formation like I asked you in the very beginning. Just turn that chain over and do the back loop, and you're going to single crochet there, there. So you're going to single crochet 3 times within this chain. That's how many chains that you have. And how does that make any sense to you now that you're thinking about it? Is that if you remember here when we started, I asked you to slip stitch 3. You've just created now the whole combination of that same concept on this side. So what I want you to do is that I want you then to single crochet then the remainder of this line. And if you notice in the instructions, which I didn't notice the very first time I ever looked at it when I was working on it, the instructions has rows number 18 and 19 together in the same instruction. So I was looking, I'm like, well, I wasn't having the equal on the same size, but it's actually listed into the same instruction. So I'm coming all the way across, So we're gonna start off row number 19. So let's turn our work again, and 19 is the exact same thing. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're coming into the back end, second chain from the hook, and we're going to single crochet ourselves all the way across. So we're just catching the 3 on the chain first before you get onto the rest of your project. Keep dropping that stitch, sorry. And once you get your 3 in, then you can safely then start going across. And I want you to go this time all the way to the end of the line. And so essentially what you've done is now you've equalized your particular diaper cover so that it's growing equally on front and back. So the next part of this tutorial is going to be really interesting because that whole ruffling effect that you see on the back of the diaper, and again you do not have to do that if you don't want it. So if you want a boys version, just skip that line and you can just single crochet, or you can just do what I'm about to show you so you can get some ruffling in there just in case you want to add the tutu looking effect toward your diaper cover. And so once you get to the end of your line, you can now safely just say, you know what, you've just created the same thing on the other side just like you have. So you can actually fold it up and see that it equals when you push it out to each other just like that. So let's begin the next part of this tutorial next. We're now about to start the back of the cover, and I'm going to have you do some stitch work that is going to accommodate this. So this is actually part of the project, and when you pull everything back you can see that it's attached with a line. And this line is purposely left out of the project so that you can slide your hook in and out of this line and to make complete sense of it. Because when you look at it from the inside, you do not see where it's grabbing onto there because it's only grabbing from the one side of the project. So in rows number 20, which is for my size, you could have a different size. You could either have row number 24 or 28. This is how you're going to do it. So we're going to immediately chain up 1, and it says working in the back loops only, single crochet into each stitch. So if in the rules of in crochet, you always notice that there's 2 lines or 2 strings that hold a stitch. Okay, the line that is closest to you is the front loop. The line that is farthest to you is the back loop. So what you need to do is that you need to come into the very first one and only go into the back loop only and single crochet. And once you get that first one, the rest of them kind of pop out in front of your face anyway, and you're only going to single crochet in the back loop going all the way across. And what this is going to do, it's going to leave a line that you're going to be able to access afterward in order to get that ruffling in. So in this next part of the tutorial, you remember how we were started off and we did 3.5 inches going down? Well, this is 3.5 inches and doing 2 lines. So one line will always be this, and then the next line is just straight single crochet. In the ruffling effect, you don't need to make way extra ruffles. It's going to happen on its own, so you don't need to overkill yourself with adding too much work to yourself, essentially. So now that I've gone almost all the way across with single crochet, you can see that there's a line that I'm going to be using afterward in order to secure my ruffling in. So one row will always be this, and then the next row will always just be chaining of 1 and then single crocheting as normal, going all the way across. And you're going to repeat this row and the last row over and over and over until you get to the height that you need in this project. So what I want you to do is continue to do that. When I come back, I'm going to be at the very top of this particular aspect, and you're going to see that there will be several lines of back looping holding out of the project, and that'll be the side that is visible when we go into work on it for the ruffles. So I'll join you back when you get to the height that you need. You either need 3.5, 4.5, or 5.5, and I'll see you in just a moment. So I just finished doing this area. So one side here you're going to see the back loops all hanging out just like you see, and then the other side you won't see anything because you were single crocheting the one all the way across. So what I want you to do is that you will have the right dimensions off camera. I already measured it. It's 3.5 inches here, and I would just want you to fasten off. Now for your information, this is not the total height of the diaper. This is only a portion of it because we still have to do the waistband area and etc. So if you're all concerned now that it's not going to fit, you're not done. So what's going to happen eventually as we come along is that you're going to match this. So this will be the outside, and you're just going to match it like this when we go to work on it together. So let's begin. We're going to start doing the ruffling effect, and the ruffling is going to start working within the loops. I'm going to give you some tips that are not in the pattern because there's a way to do this so that you do not have any loose ends hanging out of your project or any potential loose ends. So let's begin to do that next. So I'm now going to grab my sachet and I'm going to start opening it up. And what the author is asking you to do, the designer, is she's asking you to fold this in. So this is the bottom of the sachet. Your sachet could be different, could be any type of sachet. And what she's asking you to do is to roll in the center. So roll in the edge a few times. And what this will do is that it will prevent any kind of loose ends from hanging out of your particular thing, out of your diaper cover. And you want to make sure when you go to do that, you might want to leave an extra long area like that as well, so that it really does get trapped. But here's my tip for you. This is what I would do if it were me. So what I want you to do is just grab this, and this is the back loops here facing towards you, and I want you to come in from the outside of the first back loop area. So come in from the other side, grab your loop, hook, and pull that through. Pull the whole thing through, just like this. And I want you to turn it over to the other side. So this is an interesting way to get started. So what I want you to do is that I want you just to slide under another stitch in the same row. Doesn't matter where. Just slide under anywhere. Sorry. And what I want you to do is I want you to pull through the loop like this, and then the straggler I want you to pull through, and that just ties it into a knot like this. And what I want you to do then, get it nice and secure and then cut that. Okay, so this will be on the inside of the diaper, and now it doesn't matter about any loose ends hanging out because there's going to be no loose ends to worry about. So what I want you to do then is to open this back up on the good side and just let it be as normal. Okay, so I don't want to pull it tight, I just want to leave it nice and loose here, like nice firm but not like sloppy. And what I want you to do is that I want you to grab your crochet hook. So let's do that. So I want to come into the very next back loop only. So these loops are all hanging out. So, and you always have to go from between the leg area here going in the upward direction. You can never come down. Okay, it'll change the way that it looks. This will not sit on your project very well if you do it any other way. So what I want you to do is I want you to skip one particular loop on the outside, go to the second over, and put that on your hook and pull through. And that just pulled it through that particular loop. So now we just immediately come to the next one. So we slide up from the bottom. Okay, so the bottom is between the leg area. Come up through the bottom, and again just skip over 2 loops. So 1 and 2. You can skip over more if you want more loops, and if you want less frills, then you're not going to skip over 2. Just immediately go to the next one. It's a completely choice for you. So again, just come to the next one, slide up. My camera angle is more convenient for you than it is for me to work on this at this moment. So I would put this down on my lap and just kind of focus and just pull it through. So we just want to pull it through the loops just like you see. Okay, sometimes it does fall off your hook. I will not deny that. Okay, I always find with myself when I started the other one that it was a little bit tricky to get started, but then once I got my own rhythm, so we come up to the next one, and again skip the first one, come to the second, and pull through. So now I'm starting to get it. So coming up. So what's going to happen is if you came down from the top, so you're wondering, is it that important that you came up from the bottom going up? The reason for it is that if you see here, this line here will appear on the top of the diaper, so when this goes to relax, that you're going to see that line. So right now as you see it, it's just going to immediately come out of the project without any worries. This line here that you have securing, you don't need to worry about that because you're going to have other layers coming up over the top of it as well. So what I want you to do is that I want you to do the same concept going all the way across. I'm going to meet you back up and show you how to secure it on this side, and we're going to start again on this side, just basically what you've just already learned. So I'll meet you just back in just a few moments. So I've gone all the way across at this point, and now it's time to secure it. So what's going to happen is that you're going to have a loose end hanging out of this end, just like I had you do it on the other side over here. I want you to pull and cut about an 8-inch string, and then pull it through, and then just come a few stitches across, and then pull it underneath and tie a knot, just like so. And then therefore it's going to be really secure. So then you'll trim it. So it's just like you started on the other end. What this will do is that it will prevent any, and I mean any, loose strings from hanging out of the back. The child can do somersaults, they can do the whole temper tantrums, the whole 9 yards. You will never see any loose strings hanging out on this front end. So what you're going to do at the very end of this is that I want you to carry on. I have 3 more rows to do, and you're going to start back to where you already started. So we started on this side, we're going to continue in the same direction, and then fasten off, come back again, and come back again. And when we come back, I'm going to have all that done, and then we're going to do some more fancy stitch work in order to finish this off. But you can really start seeing that it's coming together quite nicely, and this is actually a relatively quick project. Now if you do not want ruffles on your particular diaper cover, you don't have to do ruffles. You can just leave it as is, and it's part of the characteristics, but again, the choices are completely up to you. So let's meet back. I'll have what I promised to have done. So here's where we are in the project. The back is now done. You can see it's nice and fluffy, and I would give this a good shake, and just to make sure all the stitches really are pulling out as much as you want it to. On the inside, here's what it looks like. You can see the knots are on both sides, very much like almost like a corset almost, and this will help you do that. Now the child is wearing a diaper anyway, so then this will be not jading into the child's skin at all, and really this is really soft yarn on top of that, so it's actually not a big deal anyway. So now it's up to us to now sew together the edges, and what I need you to do is that I need you to put the edges together so that the frill is on the inside, and we're going to use a darning needle, and we're going to sew ourselves along the side here. So we're just going to match the side to side and just sew all the way until you get to this section right here, and I want you to do that on the same on both sides. So we're just going to do a quick whip stitch, and this just happens to be a yarn strand I just happen to leave. If you do not have that, just create your own string immediately and just begin. So we're just going to put the needle in and simply just come to the other side and just match stitch to stitch going across, and just whip stitch it back and forth as you go. So to whip stitch, you just come into the next area and just go all the way down like so. So this is really quite a easy and painless part of this project. So do this with both sides, and then when we come back, we're going to start the upper band of this, and this is the belting area of this particular diaper cover. Okay, once you get your whip stitching in, I just want you to turn it back so that the frill is on the outside, and now this is the back, and as I promised, there are no loose ends hanging out of this. So give it a good shake, and you will see that the frills will just open up beautifully when it comes to this particular project. So it's really quite wonderful. So we're going to turn this now, and we're going to start working on the waistband that's going to go around the top of your work, just like so. You will notice the stitches look exactly identical, and yet one was our starting and one was our finishing. And the reason for that is that, remember I asked you to go on the back of the loop only, like when we did the first chain. You end up creating the most perfect edging on the top. So it makes it really easy when you're following this. So let's start the waistband. Let's grab our purple back up, and let's begin now. So we're now going to start the waistband. I just want you to create a slip knot. And it says to come into the stitch before the seam. So I'm going to start so that I'm around the back. So it can be on this side or this side, it doesn't matter, as long as that your first stitch goes over the seam line. So we're just going to fix our yarn, attach our yarn, pulling it through, and I want you to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's leave this straggler down in the bottom, just like this. We're going to skip over and just come into the very next stitch on the other side of the seam. Really easy. And we're going to double crochet. We're now going to begin to do the fancy stitch work, and this is all that it is. It's that funny. So it's just going to chain 1, skip 1 chain at the bottom, and just double crochet into the next, and we're going to do that all the way through. The whole waistband is in and out of these vertical posts, just like you see. So once you get your double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 down at the bottom, and double crochet into the next. And I want you to do that all the way around on this particular one, and you're going to come back to the other side of this. So you're going to go around the other side of this. So you're going to go basically all the way around. That's what I'm saying. So therefore you end up with this. So this is what's going to have the belt weave in and out. If you want to use an elastic belt, you can do that as well. This is a very versatile pattern. You can basically do whatever you want in order to make it more workable for you, just in case you don't want any ties on your particular diaper cover. So continue to do that, and I'll meet you around, and we'll start up the next round because there's one more after this. Once you get all the way around, I just want you to come to the third one up, so that there should be a chain one that separates this post and that post and this one here. And now we're going to begin the second round of the belt area. So to begin the second round, this is called the reverse single crochet. Really fabulous stitch. So let's begin to do that. So we're just going to chain one, and it's simply coming into the same where you've just attached, come down in, pull the yarn through, and then pull through. Okay, so no big deal, right? So that was actually a reverse, you just don't know it yet. So always in crochet we go forward like this. We want to go backward. We want to come from where we came from. So we're going to come right into the gapping space right in here, and we're just going to simply come down in underneath, grab the yarn, pull it forward underneath, grab the yarn and pull through two. And you're going to start seeing this taking shape in just a moment. So now here's the next one. It's a post. So you're going to come in the top of the stitch, so in, so it's the one in behind, so again coming in the reverse direction, pull the yarn through, and then pull through two. And this is going to create a really wicked line on the top. So here's the next gapping space, so in, pull through underneath, and pull through. And then the next one is a post. Continue to do that all the way around, and you're going to notice that you're going to have the most interesting line you've ever seen on the very top of your particular project. There are other slower tutorials available on how just to do reverse single crochet, just in case you need to do it. And it's really quite easy and fabulous to have. And that's how it looks like. So continue to do that all the way around. We'll meet back up, we'll fasten off, and then we're going to do the leg openings next, and we're almost done at this point. So I've now come all the way back around. You can see I have a beautiful edging going on. I've already trimmed my yarn, and I'm just pulling it through just like this. So the best way to hide in your loose ends and to secure them fastly, especially if a child is wearing it, we are just going to grab a darning needle and just to go in. And I've been using this technique I think for 6 months, and it is absolutely fabulous, maybe a little bit longer. So I just want to come underneath the stitches, and I want to go in 3 different directions. So I'm going to go 1, and then I'm going to come back and go in somewhere slightly different so it doesn't follow the same path. So that's just number 2, and I'm going to go back in the same direction. This is 3. What this does is that because I've gone in 3 different directions, is that it'll never come out on you, because this project cannot move in 3 directions in order to loosen out. So therefore this would be permanently into position. So we want to be able to do this. So here is where I had you change over and crochet over the line. See how it's falling out like this? Not good. So I'm going to use my darning needle one more time, and I'm going to secure that into position as well. And I didn't leave a lot of string on this, and this is just a normal thing of life. You know, sometimes it's one of those things you have to worry about afterward. You do the best you can, and all I just want to do is just come out underneath the stitches and pull just a little bit just to hide it in. So 1 and then 2. I don't have a lot of string to work with, so I'm just doing the very best I can, and I'm going to go 3 just like this. And so then that loose end will never fall out on you either, and that's a great way to do it. So let's start working on the leg openings. I'm just going to show you the one, because obviously you have 2, and basically what we have to do now is do a really nice finish on it in order to really secure it. So this is what we have. This is the front of your diaper so far, and this is the back. To do the diaper opening, it's really easy. You just want to secure it in, so you're just going to fasten in. You're just going to follow the edging all the way around, and I'm just going to create a slip knot just to get started. Pull it through, and all you're just going to do in the rules of single crochet, because that you've done rows, is that basically at the end of every row should be a single crochet. So it makes it really simple that way. So all you're just going to do is then just come into the same stitch that you just joined, start your single crochet, and just follow it around and just match all the stitches up that you can do. Sometimes you have to evenly space it, sometimes it's not that obvious, but as long as it just looks good when you're done, that's the key point. When you get to the end of that, I want you to fasten off, weave in your ends just like I've shown you just a few moments ago, and then I want you to do the same for the other side, and we are virtually done. We just have to create a little mini belt that's on the top, and that's just a matter of cutting a couple strings, so it's not a big deal. So let's do that, and I'll meet you back up in just a moment and we'll finalize off this project together. Okay, our next step is to make a band, and what we need to do is cut 2 strands of the sachet, and it says about 1 meter long, 1 yard, and I found that it was a little bit too long for my particular size, but you always can cut it afterward if it is too long for you. So what it's asking you to do is it's asking you to tie the ends so that there's a knot, because if you don't, all of this will fall apart eventually. So it's asking you to tie in every side, so we have 2 strands. And so now what we're going to do is that we're going to take our cover, and you can see that the edges are now done, and I want you to start off basically looking from the center of the front of the diaper, and you don't have to go in and out of every one. You can go out in and out of every 2 if you want to. This, again, creativity is up to you. So you're just going to start off on one side. So I just started off in the middle. I'm going to go every other 2 in my case. And you can do whatever you feel like you want to do. So you want to make sure that you're coming out of the same ones of the sides. So now that you got that one in, again, I'm going to skip 2 on this side. Coming in the other side and out. So I'm just looking where it's coming out on this side. And basically you're going to have it like this. Okay, so if that suits you, it's great. You can go in and out, and then what you want to do is then take the other strand that you have left. I know it's harder to see with this one, and then do the same on this side. So I'm going to start on the front middle area. I'm just kind of eyeing it out. I would obviously take my time more if I was actually doing a serious model at this point. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm coming in and out of the important ones. It's a very forgiving pattern. I think if I were me and I was a mom, I would probably consider maybe a pull-up elastic kind of idea, this concept right here. I think it'll make it a little bit easier to manage. So in and out, coming out to the other side. See how it's coming out of this one? I'm coming in that one and then out the other side of the other one. Just they cross over like this, and so now you've just formed yourself a belt like this. So you're going to pull the strings just equal because you have cut them the same size. Okay, and just like this. And then what happens on this particular sample is that you will tie the bow tie on the sides, and this is where you want to be careful. You want to kind of look at it first, do the tie and say, you know what, is the tie too much or is it too little, and then you can make a judgment call, and if it's too much string you can obviously cut it. And that's how you would complete the ruffled diaper cover, just like so. And again, this pattern is very versatile to be able to do it with or without the ruffle. The concepts are still the same, and it works out to be absolutely amazing. So there I give you the ruffled diaper cover, available, free pattern by redheart.com. For more information and free ideas, you can always check out redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. Until next time, we'll see you.